It's Thursday, August 15. In the headlines, government announces millions for information on Cherry Tree Lane shooting. In business news, the World Bank Group announces Council on Jobs. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's Ministry of Health to test for Oropouche virus. And in sports, Trinidad's Karting Championship a resounding success. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. One of the men suspected of being a shooter in last Sunday's mass killing in Cherry Tree Lane, Clarendon, was fatally shot on Wednesday afternoon. According to the Jamaica Constabulary Force's communication network, he was shot during a targeted operation by members of the JCF's Fugitive Apprehension Team and the Clarendon Operational Support Unit. The incident happened in Osborne Store, Clarendon. The dead man has been identified as Stephen Smith, otherwise called Thicka or Flybrain, and is suspected of being involved in numerous contract-related killings and other serious and illicit activities in Clarendon and other parishes. He was wanted by the Mapen police for murder for some time and was a person of interest in several other murder investigations. Smith was a prime suspect as one of the shooters in last Sunday's Cherry Tree Lane shooting, which left 8 people dead and 9 injured. On Wednesday, a state of public emergency was announced during a press brief at Jamaica House in Kingston. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said all arms of the law have been deployed to bring those responsible to face justice.
The JCF, the JDF, MOCA, and all our security apparatus is responding not in the traditional way. We have new modalities and new ways of responding to this. So there may be persons who would be expecting to see mass mobilizations and, mass arrests and all kinds of, no, that's not how the JCF, the JDF, and our security forces operate. We are operating in an information-rich and intelligence-driven strategic environment.
Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Jang, says the government is committed to supporting the security forces in the bid to apprehend those involved in Sunday's mass shooting.
Any discussion of any further activity depends on the situation at the end of the day. But we are confident the police will use these tools, supported by the Jamaica Defence Force, to effectively control the rise of criminal violence in Clarendon.
The attendants were informed that the shooting was linked to previous violent incidents in the parish and criminal elements in the diaspora are also involved.
These individuals who once were friends in Jamaica are falling out in the United States over illegal obtained gains, leading to each taking homicidal contracts to incite fear and terror. Criminal actors in prisons were contacted to facilitate these contracts through their criminal networks, resulting in the senseless bloodshed here in Jamaica.
$6 million has been earmarked for those who can give credible information leading to the arrest and charge of any suspect involved in Sunday's mass shooting in Cherry Tree Lane in Clarendon. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure during a press briefing at Jamaica House in St. Andrew on Wednesday.
Particularly those who were involved in pulling the trigger. And that is up to a maximum amount of $1 million per person. Secondly, we will provide $5 million for information aiding in the investigation, arrest, and charge of facilitators of this criminal act, up to a maximum of $1.5 million per person. We're particularly interested in the facilitators and the organizers. The facilitators, those who provided the weapons or gave access to the weapons and ammunition, access to the motor vehicle, organized, made the telephone calls, made the connections.
Mr. Holness says a reward is being offered for information resulting in the securing of evidence against the gangs involved.
We will provide a fund of $5 million leading to the arrest and charge for anyone harboring the criminal gangs or their associates. A maximum of $800,000 per person identified. So this is a $25 million fund that is aimed at increasing the pace at which information is flowing in for the investigation.
He says the traditional methods of providing information can be used. In the wake of a horrific mass shooting in Cherry Tree Lane, Clarendon on Sunday that claimed 8 lives, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government has drafted plans for the construction of a maximum security prison. This decision comes amid reports that incarcerated individuals were among the masterminds behind the brutal attack. Danita Rodney reports.
Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says there had been previous discussions about construction of a new prison. However, it was not high on the government's agenda due to budgetary constraints.
As it relates to the construction of a new prison facility, yes, we have actually had many discussions. We actually have draft plans. The issue, of course, is the budgetary constraints. There are many demands on the budget. Building a new prison would certainly draw quite a bit of political attention as to whether or not that is wise use of funds when we need new hospitals, new schools, roads, and all the other issues.
Mr. Holness acknowledged that with the latest incident, there might be a need for more modern prison facilities that would effectively separate criminal masterminds from the society.
I'm thinking now, obviously, and in the consciousness of the public, that clearly there needs to be more modern prison facilities where we can effectively cut off the communication and the contact of prisoners. So the contemplation that we have and that we have started to develop plans, I believe, CDS, you might want to say a few words on the plans that we have, is really focused on how we can build a high security facility where these kinds of criminal masterminds can be effectively separated from the society.
Addressing questions about the new Corrections Act, National Security Minister Dr. Harris Chang says an act will be brought to Parliament in the next legislative year to effectively manage penal institutions.
New correction is in the drafting stage. We have, in fact, put on the table, of course, the new corrections policy, which provides the framework for the development of new legislation. It's something that we expect it will not conclude in this parliament year, but in the next parliament year, we should be able to bring the new corrections out. Important in ensuring we have the required legislative framework to manage effectively the individuals incarcerated in jail.
The National Security Minister also assured the public that currently prisoners are closely monitored by the police and correctional officers.
But just to add that, it is not that it's not without control. We, in fact, monitor the activities of these prisoners, not only by investigating and removing contraband from the prison, but the police monitors carefully. That's why some of the intelligence, without going into details, are able to identify beforehand, intercept, and sometimes save the lives of some of the very criminals who are involved. So work is done to manage the situation quite effectively, but there will be slippage occasionally.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
Jamaicans who have been affected by natural or man-made disasters can get access to up to $75,000 through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's Emergency Assistance Grant. Acting Director for Disaster Rehabilitation and Welfare Management in the ministry, Jacqueline Shepherd, says under the initiative, people receive a cash grant while also being provided with in-kind support such as food, toiletries, and bedding. Ms. Shepherd told the press that the facility is designed to provide relief assistance to individuals affected by flooding, earthquakes, fire, and other emergencies that might happen because of a disaster. In the business report, Philip Ramson, president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, notes that over 80% of the Jamaican workforce is not covered by a pension plan. This results in an urgent need for innovative solutions that ensure every Jamaican can enjoy a secure and comfortable retirement. The World Bank Group has announced the launch of the High-Level Advisory Council on Jobs, which is a new initiative that will identify actionable policies and programs to address the looming job crisis in the Global South, which includes Jamaica. In a statement announcing the launch on Monday, the World Bank says over the next 10 years, an unprecedented 1.2 billion young people in the Global South will become working-age adults, but the job market is only expected to create 420 million jobs, leaving nearly 800 million without a clear path to prosperity. Several noted companies have announced their financial results to investors in the stock market. Medical diagnostic firm Elite reports year-end net profit of 30.86 million Jamaican dollars. PVC manufacturer Omni reports 3% increase in 6 months net profit. Medical diagnostic firm G West reports first quarter net loss of $15.66 million. Food and beverage distributor Everything Fresh reports 47% decline in 6 months net profit attributed to shareholders. Investment firm Sterling Investments Limited reports 69% decline in 6 months net income. Cigarette distributor Carreras Limited reports 2% increase in 6 month net profit. Time now for the latest happenings in local and regional stock markets with Denise Williams.
During trading for the period of August 14, 2024, the following companies represent the 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Media House Radio Jamaica Limited with 10,429,527 units represents 33.39% of the market trading activity. Cigarette distributor Carreras Limited with 8,549,877 units represent 27.37% of the market trading activity. Toll road operator Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with 2,390,653 units represents 7.65% of the market trading activity. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the stock market, we turn to the Forex market. On August 14, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $85.83 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $77.80 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $157.79 and bought US dollars for $156.45. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.34, which represents a profit to Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of 58 cents from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold for $114.54 and bought for $115.12. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $3.24, selling it for $200.83 and buying it for $197.59. For our credit report tip of the day, we continue looking at being over 50 and planning early retirement. The goal is to rebuild your credit, leverage loans to invest in income-producing assets. So we have two more suggestions. The first is to limit hard inquiries. Be mindful of applying for too many loans or credit cards in a short period. Multiple hard inquiries from financial institutions can lower your credit score. So focus on selective application that align with your goals. Next, we encourage you to build a savings cushion. Lenders look favorably on applicants with strong savings. Having a cushion not only provides financial security, but also demonstrates your ability to manage money effectively.
In regional news, the Taiwan Embassy has officially contributed $5.587 million to support bilateral cooperation projects in St. Lucia, with the donation formalized during a handing over ceremony on Tuesday. HTS News Force has the story.
The Republic of China, Taiwan, continues to contribute to St. Lucia's national development and economic growth. In August, the Taiwanese government donated $5.587 million to fund 6 initiatives under the bilateral cooperation projects. Prime Minister Philip G. Pierre says the money will be used to improve the lives of residents.
We take that money to invest in the people of St. Lucia. And the people can see how that money is invested. The people will see. If you ask the people of St. Lucia, how were the grant fund used before? I doubt you will get a definitive answer. The answer you'll get is what somebody says that it was used for. That's what you'll get. But when you ask us, how do we use the Taiwanese grant funds, we can tell you exactly what we do with it, where is it, and how the people benefit.
Pierre outlined some of the projects under the Bilateral Cooperation Initiative. $350,000 of the $5.5 million will go towards the rehabilitation of bagatelle drains in the Prime Minister's constituency.
I see my colleagues get serious. You understand? So, the people of Bagatelle can look forward to that small road that they complain about. We're going to be slabbing a part of the drain so 2 vehicles can drive comfortably up the Bagatelle road very shortly. So when the minister from the External Affairs Minister is using cross-country to come to Castries, he'll have wider space to drive his vehicle. That is what we're going to do with these funds. So the people of Bagatelle can look forward very, very shortly to the slabbing of the drain and the resurfacing of the road. Very, very, very soon. The people will benefit from that.
$1.5 million will also be allocated to a human resource community center in Castries North and East.
So we want to urge the civil servants to get the work done so the people of Castries East and Castries North cannot say that we came here today for a show and nothing is happening.
Other projects include a local government community project valued at $1,358,450. $1,200,000 will go towards the West Coast Sub-Fire Station. The Youth Economy Agency's Innovation Hub will also receive $500,000. Additionally, $679,225 will be allocated to a TVET transformation, which will see the construction of 4 learning institutions. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.
The Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago has announced that it will begin testing for Oropouche virus. According to the World Health Organization, this virus is an arboviral disease transmitted to humans through the bites of small flies or mosquitoes. More details from Trinidad and Tobago's news.
It said the virus is endemic in many South American countries, with outbreaks periodically reported in Brazil, Colombia, Panama, and Trinidad and Tobago, among others. Speaking to reporters this morning, Health Minister Terence Dialsing said the Oropouche virus is making its way through Brazil and confirmed that testing for it will be conducted if any dengue test comes back negative.
The Oropouche virus was first discovered and named, unfortunately, after Oropouche in Trinidad and Tobago. I have confirmed with CARFA this morning that we are now testing for the Oropouche virus in case we have it in Trinidad and Tobago. What CARFA is doing, the blood samples that we send to them to test for dengue, once those samples are negative, then they do a second screen for Oropouche virus, because the signs and symptoms tend to be the same, they overlap.
With recent events of flooding, Minister Dialsing cautioned the population not to venture into flood waters.
Leptospirosis is something that rears its ugly head every rainy season when we have floods, and people have no choice really but to go into flood waters to save property, livestock, and their lives. But we do ask you to resist the temptation to go into flood waters unnecessarily. Sometimes you see our children playing in flood waters. That is not advisable. I saw in one of the newspapers this morning a lady wisely wearing tall boots and going into flood waters. That is what we need to do.
In Barbados, following World Breastfeeding Week, health officials are continuing efforts to debunk myths and promote breastfeeding. The week, observed from August 1 to August 7, emphasized breastfeeding's importance. Nurse Nakisha Scantleberry highlighted its benefits for infants, addressing concerns about breast changes. Nurse Crystal Holder added that the antenatal clinic offers classes to support mothers.
How I am accustomed to having a break breast. After I'm finished breastfeeding, what will happen? And I find that that is one of the common things among the young and then the patients. So that's why I say support. Because once you have that support, then those little things you can get over.
They offer classes on Wednesdays via Zoom. So if anyone wants to find out any information, they can be able to contact the antenatal clinic at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and speak to midwife Sherindal Cooper. She runs that program. So we start from there because having information before, so trying to dispel some of those myths so when your time comes that you're able to have a foundation before it starts. Also, as the person comes to the labor and delivery room, we start from within the first hour. So we actually do skin to skin. Skin to skin means as the baby has delivered, it goes directly onto the skin, which is one of the things that are recommended for a baby-friendly hospital.
In sports, the Trinidad and Tobago's Karting Association recently held its 5th championship event for 2024, and from all accounts, the event was a great success.
The Wallerfield International Raceway continues to be the home and a safe space for many motorsport disciplines, including karting. The Trinidad and Tobago Karting Association held its 5th championship event for the year, with over 30 competitors leaving the grid. Some kart drivers begin before their teenage years, while others enter into the sport well into adulthood. In the LO206 cadet category, Jonathan Charan was first, Nialan Sicharan Jr. second, and Kiran Bimsing taking third. The sportsman class saw Luke Chong Ashsing taking third spot, Matthias Morton Gittins second, and Aaron Sharma was the top performer. To the Rotax Minimax grouping, where 2-stroke 125cc water-cooled engines are used and go to a 60 mph threshold. Here, Axel Garcia took top spot, while Ronaldo Naipaul and Mark Chong Ashsing were second and third respectively. to the faster karts and more experienced drivers in the Masters bracket. Brandon Singh, who is no stranger to the track, finished first. Anil Singh and Joshua Devnarayan Singh were second and third in this class. The Rotak seniors saw Benjamin Mahon taking pole, top female driver Naomi Garcia second, and Alex Kiran Sharma finishing third in the event.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, we are the People's Station.